Having recently just purchased a home in Mexico, I'd like to give you some insight on the entire process. If you're Canadian or American, this buying process is completely different than what you're probably used to. Before you do anything, you need to be working with a reputable and licensed realtor to be able to make the offer for you. Once you find the house you want to buy, you're going to submit an offer to purchase through your realtor. It's a short, generally one-page document that outlines the purchase price, your closing date, and what you want included, and it keeps it very simple. If the seller is interested in your offer, you'll probably go back and forth negotiating the various aspects like price or what's included, what's to fix, etc. The process is kind of done verbally, back and forth through the realtor, and then once you get close to hashing it out, you put it on paper. Unlike in Canada, when you send an offer back and forth, there's no time limit on it. Generally, it's up to 3 days, but because there's nothing in stone, you can technically walk away from the negotiations and you don't lose out on anything. In our case, this process took about 2.5 weeks. Once you've done that, you're going to sign a letter of intent, which is going to lock in your offer and terms. Once that's done, you're going to sign a promissory purchase agreement with the seller, which is going to include things like payment terms, deposit amount, closing date, and so on. It's also going to include a list of contingencies like a clear title and whatever else you agreed upon. At this point, you should have already hired an attorney, and ideally you would have hired them and having them help you negotiate the terms and agreements. The contracts are always written in Spanish and then translated in English, but if there's any discrepancies, they will always side with the Spanish contract. This is why it's crucial to have a really good bilingual lawyer. Our lawyer has been amazing and was highly recommended to us, so if you want his contact, just comment below with the words lawyer. At this point, your attorney would already be in the process of setting up the bank trust or the fideicomiso, which applies to any foreigner who does not hold or possess a Mexican passport and wants to buy a house within 50 kilometers of the ocean or 100 kilometers of any border. If you're buying resale, by now you would have already paid your deposit into an escrow account. To finalize the purchase, you're going to pay the remaining balance into the seller's escrow account. Then you're going to sign the final deed in front of a notary. Then you're going to pay the closing costs, which should be about 6 to 8% total, which includes the lawyer fees. Then the notary will register the deed with the Public Property Registry, and then a few weeks later, you'll receive the deed in your name under the fideicomiso or bank trust. By the time you're at step 3 and you're looking to close, it could take about 2 to 3 months. It just takes time to set up the bank trust and transfer the titles and all that. The overall process does take longer, but if you're in a rush to close or move into the house, you can always work those details with the seller and move in before you get the actual deed. If you're looking for a really great, reputable, licensed realtor, comment the words realtor below and I'll provide their info. Thanks for watching.